Only what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught him. Is it possible Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught him what matters?
It's possible.
It's possible, right? And even if he did, and we will leave the discussion because there is a genuine ikhtilaf, and some say he was given knowledge of all matters, some say he wasn't. Those will back it up, say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about Adam, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. He taught Adam the names of all things. There's also hadith that indicate that. Others. Now here the point I want to raise is that some people have an issue with that. They say you made him divine. You say you haven't because it was acquired. Just as your post-eternality is acquired. And even if he was given knowledge, it's jaiz, it's not wajib. It's in the realms of possibility. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't need to, even if you say he was given knowledge of all matters, it's not something that's necessary for him. Whereas with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala it's necessary. So we say, Shaitan baynahuma. There's an immense difference between, even if you say the Prophet was given knowledge of all matters, you cannot compare the knowledge of the Prophet to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From understanding in Aqida, you cannot compare them. One, because it's jaiz, it's not wajib. Secondly, it's kasbi, it's not wahbi. It's something that was given to him, it's not something that was intrinsic to him. The answer to that, there is an ikhtilaf amongst your ulama. So that's pre-eternality, he's always been, negates a beginning. Post-eternality, he always will be, it's negated an endpoint from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The third one, and we'll come back to these. مخالفة للحوادث. مخالفة للحوادث. Dissimilarity. Dissimilarity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the word hawadith in Arabic, muhdath, is something that comes into existence, something that's temporal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not come into existence, he always has been. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always has been. He did not come into existence. Everything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came into existence. Everything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had a beginning point. So everything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is hawadith. Hawadith is something that's temporal that came into being. So what's this now? Quality. We say mukhalafa lil hawadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is different to temporal beings. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is different to, meaning what? To make it simpler, there's no comparison between him and creation. Dissimilarity means in no sense whatsoever can you compare Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his creation. In no sense whatsoever. No. In his essence, in his attributes, in his acts. And we're going to look at each one of these. He's unique in his essence. We can't even understand his essence. What is the dhat al-ilahiyya? What is the divine essence? We can't understand that. There's a hijab, there's a veil that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put. We can't understand. But what we know, as we said before, Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, anything that crosses your, that's what Ghazali said, anything that crosses your mind, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not that. كل ما خطر ببال الإنسان فالله بخلاف ذلك. Sayyidina Abu Bakr said, العجز عن الإدراك إدراك. Your incapacity to comprehend is your comprehension. So there's a veil here now whereby you can't understand the divine essence. What we do know, whatever you think of, it's not that. Whatever you think, whatever crosses your mind, it's not that. Likewise in his attributes, he is merciful, you're merciful. There's no comparison between the two. We only share names. We only share names. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows you to be called Rahim. He's allowed you to be called Ghafoor. He says you're forgiving. He forgives. There's no comparison whatsoever between the two. As Imam Tahawi rahimahullah says in his Aqeedah, Wallahu yaghdibu wa yarda, la ka ahad min al-wara. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has anger and he has pleasure, but not like any human being, not like anything in creation. And you say, we're angry, we get angry, so does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can't compare the two, except for that we say that we share the word, and that's it. That's the extent of the comparison between the two. The ulama give an example. They say you've got a moonlit night, there's a moon up there in the sky, and there's a lake there, and you see a reflection of the moon. So there's the essence, the moon, that's substance. The reflection, there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. So that's the nature of divine qualities where he allows us to share the name. We're only sharing the name, we don't share anything about the essence. And likewise acts as well, we don't share. We're going to look at that. And we're going to go into some detail of this because this is one of the deviancies that's crept into the Ummah nowadays. One of the big confusion that's arisen in the Ummah is over this issue of dissimilarity. Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the Orthodox Muslims have clear understanding, no similarity whatsoever. What's that based on? وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. There's nothing that resembles him. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ. There's nothing like his likeness. There's nothing like his likeness. He doesn't have a likeness, but just let's assume that you could create a clone of God Almighty, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's nothing that compares to the clone, let alone the original. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ. So we begin from that premise, but then in the Quran you've got descriptions that give clear resemblance. And unfortunately there are people now who are going to play a lot of emphasis on these points. So they're going to talk about an eye. It talks about an eye of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're going to talk about a hand, they're going to talk about a foot, they're going to talk about these different two fingers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we begin from this premise, this similarity. After that, then we will look at how do we understand these descriptions in the Quran and the Sunnah. How did the Salaf understand it? How did the Khalaf understand it? And why are they there in the first place? We need to look at that. But we always begin this similarity. And we look at the reason why we must have absolute dissimilarity, no comparison whatsoever between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and between His creation. We'll look at that. The fourth one, negating attribute. So what's that negative comparison or similarity between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and human beings, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and creation? Al-Qiyam bin-Nafs. Self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency negates two aspects. Al-Mujid wal-Mahal. Al-Mukhassis wal-Mujid wal-Mahal. Allah, when we negate that, we negate reliance upon anything within creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no need whatsoever for anything within creation. And that comes from the ayah, Allahu Samad. Allahu Samad. Anybody tell me what does Samad mean? The translations, what does it say? Samad? Unique, okay. That's the translation, absolute, okay. What's all that mean? Because this is Samad, this is what Samad is about. This is understanding the divine attributes of Samad. The Mufassirin say Samad, unique or absolute, is the one that all of creation turns to for their needs, yet he has no need whatsoever upon anything within creation. All of creation turns to for their needs, he has no need whatsoever for anything within creation. That's self-sufficiency. He gives without any need, without any reliance. He withholds without any need, without any reliance. He creates, he has no need whatsoever for creation. He has no need whatsoever for creation. Even, you could potentially misunderstand an ayah in the Quran, famous ayah. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create? So that they worship me. Does he need that? No. He doesn't need that you worship. And that's why he can, because somebody could understand that. To worship, we created for us to worship him. Does he need that? Is it reliant upon us worshipping him? No. Doesn't affect him whatsoever. Has no impact whatsoever upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether we worship or whether we reject him. Our existence makes no difference whatsoever to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Doesn't affect anything about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why the ayah then continues when he says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I've only created jinn and humans to worship me. To remove that misunderstanding, مَا أُرِيدُ مِنْهُمْ مِنْ رِزْقٍ. I do not need anything from them. I do not need any sustenance from them. وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ يُطْعِمُونَ. I do not need that they give me anything, that they feed me with anything. إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الرَّزَّاقُ. The dependency is upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's the one who gives. إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الرَّزَّاقُ. So self-sufficiency is absolute. But in Aqida they're going to say, particularly he has no reliance upon, or he has no need for somebody to bring him into existence, nor does he have reliance upon a location that he must reside within. No. Those two particularly are important, but generally any type of reliance. And then the last one, the fifth one, al-wahdaniyya. Which is divine unity. Divine unity. Oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. في ذاته وصفاته وأفعاله. He's one in his essence, he's one in his attributes, he's one in his acts. He's one in his essence. Meaning there's no partners and there's no composite parts. What are we negating here? Note here we're negating two things. When we think about oneness, We think that there's no partners, which is absolute. Everybody knows that there's no partners, every Muslim. But what else have we negated here? Composite parts to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One means that He's one essence. Like when you look at anything in creation, you're made up of parts, hand, arm, body, made up of parts. Even if you take any part down, you say it's made up of, you can take it down to a molecular level. Everything is constructed of parts. You say that al-ilahiyya is not made up of parts. The divine essence is not made up, it's one complete entity, whatever that entity may be. It's one complete entity, whatever that entity may be. Likewise, His attributes, one attribute. He shares no partners within His attributes. Nobody is merciful except for Him. Nobody is a creator except for Him. We only share names, as we said before, but realities we do not share. Nobody has divine attributes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. Likewise in acts, nobody creates in reality. You don't do any act except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has caused it to happen through you.